Hi everyone, welcome to J&D Gardens. We're here in Garden North today and we're going to be starting a brand new series called Dealing with Garden Critters. I'm talking about all the pests and vermins and rascals that cause you problems in your gardens. Now today we're actually going to concentrate on the four-legged kind. Ones like raccoons and possum, feral cats, and especially groundhogs. They're the worst. Now we have such a problem with critters in our area that for our greenhouse over here, during the summer months where we like to leave the plastic off, we actually found that we had to put metal fencing around the entire structure. And I'm talking about the front, the back, the sides, and the top. We'll bring you a video of that later. Now there's a lot of ways of keeping critters out of your gardens. There's a lot of different methods. One method is putting hot peppers around your garden. And the thought process is when the animals come and they smell the peppers, they grab them, they start eating them, it's too hot for them, so they think that it's not a good area to look for food, so that they'll leave you alone. And there's all kinds of sprays and even like sonic speakers that you can put into the ground, and it's supposed to scare them from burrowing in the area. And I've used them all over the years with limited success. You know, one time I was actually at a farm and I was talking to a farmer. He was showing me his field and I was asking him, how do you keep all the critters out of there? And he looked at me and told me, do you want to know the truth or do you want the PC answer? And I said, well, I want to know the truth. He goes, well, we shoot them. Now, let me be really clear. We do not shoot any animals here at J&D Gardens. What we found that works the best to keep the critters out of our area is trapping them. Now, when I'm talking about trapping, the way we do our trapping is a very humane way. It's not like a bear trap where an animal sticks their hands to it and it clamps around their leg and kind of hobbles them until they're released, until somebody releases them. Or anything like a snare trap, which is a wire that an animal will walk through and it'll wrap around their body or even their neck. We use a cage trap. And a cage trap is very simple. It's a cage. One side has a trap door. The animal comes inside, sets the trigger off, and the door closes behind them, and they're trapped until you can take them out somewhere and release them. We'll bring you that a little bit later. Now, trapping actually only works with certain kinds of critters, and let me explain. You don't want to try to trap things like squirrels, and the reason why is in your area there's probably hundreds if not thousands of squirrels, and trapping them wouldn't be practical. If you had to trap and release them somewhere, you'd be doing that 100 times a day. It's just not practical. So, but where trapping does work for things like groundhogs, raccoons, and possums. And the reason for that is because those animals are territorial, and that actually works in your favor. And let me explain that. By territorial, I mean groundhogs or raccoons, they don't like other groundhogs or raccoons in their area. They actually fight amongst each other because they figured if they've picked your property, your area, as their stomping ground, let's just say, they don't want anyone else muscling in on the territory. So they keep the other ones out so that the pickings are all for them. Now, I find that if you get rid of that family or a group of groundhogs or raccoons that are in the area and move them away from your property, you're going to be usually clear for several weeks, if not a couple of months, even the whole season sometimes. Now, how do you know when you've gotten the group that are in your area, the family or the group that are in your area? Well, it's just keep trying to trap them. Like, you can usually trap a groundhog or a raccoon very quickly with these cage traps. Once you trap them, you release them, and you keep setting the traps. Now, on my property, I have about 3 or 4 of them, so I can trap them very quickly. After several days, you see there's no activity in the trap, well, you probably have all the ones that are in your area, so you're good. Now, every now and then, another raccoon or a groundhog from another area will kind of scout the area and see, wow, the pickings are pretty good here and there's no one to fight with, so they're going to try to muscle in that territory. And then you just have to start again. So when you see suspicious activity, you can set out your traps again. but you'll see once you trap the main group that are in the area, you're gonna be in good shape for a while. So why don't I show you how the trap works now? So this is a trap that we like to use. It's a pretty standard animal trap. It's this one's called a large animal trap, and it's made by a company called Havahart, and we'll leave a link to that below. But there are a lot of companies that make these kind of traps, and they're all very similar. This one's about 32 inches long and about 12 inches high and 12 inches wide. And they make these in different sizes, as I said, and different kinds of trap doors. This one actually has one trap door. Let me put this to the side. And the same company makes another one that's a dual-sided. And depending on you know, where you want to put them, let me just move that over to just kind of show you. You can just use it as a single-sided door, but if you're in an area maybe wedged in between a fence, you want them to be able to come in through both sides, or maybe they'll feel a little more safe that they can see through. So once you set the trap and they come inside, you step on it, it'll lock them down and lock this side down as well. So you can use it as a single door or a double door. Let me show you. Come back. So let me kind of show you the anatomy of this trap. So if you see the top of the trap, there's a handle so that you can actually carry it. And there's a handle guard. Now, whenever using this trap, especially when there's animal, wear gloves. But the guard is to stop the animal for kind of either sticking its snout out, trying to bite you, or sticking your hand up. So it's actually kind of protects you, but wear gloves anyway. Now, you have the front of the trap, which has its door, and you have the back area, which is called the bait area. And that's actually where you'll put whatever you're trying to lure the animal with. I find that things like lettuce and believe it or not, carrots really attract groundhogs very well. Then you have the trigger, you have the trigger rod, and the door. So let me just kind of show you this up front. The door has a latch to keep it locked in place. Once you lift up this latch and you open it up, there's the trigger rod, which, let me just get this here. You just push it in place and it holds the door open. If you can see that, there's a spot, little area that the latch hooks onto. Now the animal will walk in. Let me turn it from the side. The animal will walk in through there. And then when they try to go to the bait area, they'll actually step on this little trap right, trigger right here, and they're locked inside. No muss, no fuss, and this little stop right here will stop them from being able to push the door open. And believe me, they try. All right, so now once you have the animal trapped, the next thing is releasing it in a proper way. And the problem is that if you try to open up, if you go out to a field or something and you try to release the animal and you try to open up the door, they're going to be kind of coming at you. They're going to, and the natural instinct is to kind of step away. So you're never going to be able to open the door. They're going to squeeze out. They're going to come right at you. So a lot of the manufacturers actually will send you something like this. And I call it a pitchfork. I forget what the actual name of it is. And what it is, it's a way to pin the animal to one side of the cage. So let's just say you have the animal, he's sitting here in the bait area. You kind of force him over there. What this does is you kind of go through the fence and you kind of lock it in place. Now, that actually creates a cage within the cage. If you see what I'm talking about, let me just turn it this way. When you put it down, it's going to lock them in there. And if you're doing this on the ground, these prongs will actually stick them into the ground. So it'll, whoop, let me just kind of line this up perfectly. You kind of poke it into the ground. It's long enough that you can poke it into the ground. If not, it'll just, let me just come around. It'll just kind of hold in place from the metal grate on the bottom. Now what that does, once you have that area pinned, then you can just you have the animal pinned on one side, then you can actually just set the trap again, and it's good. You can pull up the trap, and the animal will go flying. Now, this does work this way. I found a couple of methods that will help you out with this. Now, this is rather short, and if you ever caught an animal before, it's pretty, they come at you. They are sticking their hands through there, they're biting at you, they're making all kinds of noises. So even if you're wearing a heavy pair of gloves, it's kind of like, it's kind of natural instinct to step it. No matter how many times I've done it, you don't want to get bit. It's kind of, as you get close to it, you're gonna feel like intimidated getting anywhere near it. And this is actually, believe it or not, kind of close. And also with all the rustling around that the animals can doing, it's very simple, very easy to kind of set the trap set the trap again. So as you're trying to lock it in place, or the animal's moving, or even once you release it, as it's running out, he can actually set the trap again, and then it closes and you got to start all over again. So a couple of tricks that I've come up with. One is that I've actually made another kind of pitchfork. I've had this for years, and it's the same principle, except the prongs are a lot longer and have a nice long handle. So as I get the animal to one side, let me just see if I can line this up. I can, whoop. I can lock them in there, but I'm actually holding it from the top. So my hands aren't anywhere near the trap, and I'm wearing gloves, like I said. So once I'm there, and then if he starts fighting, I can kind of hold the trap in place. Now, the other tip is that once you actually open up the door and you set the latch, like I said, there's a lot of movement that could happen. So what I like to do is I like to get a standard clamp, and I will just lock it in there. And that door is not going to close. So once he's in there, all I have to do, and I don't have to come anywhere near it. If it's on the ground, I can just put my foot on the trap and pull that up, and the animal will go flying. And that's it. And it's very simple. This pitchfork that I made, it's metal rods. I welded it to a metal bar, and I put a handle. And what I like to do is I actually like to blunt the tips with these plastic guards. These are the same kind of guards if you've ever seen on those closet-made systems to kind of finish it off. Makes it look nice and clean in the closet system, but it actually, all the sharp edges are taken off. And the reason why is when you're putting this through, or even this through, to lock them in place, the animals are going to keep coming at you. They're going to be scratching. They're going to be going with their front snout, which is what animals do, to bite you. And the last thing you want them to do is to get hurt on these. These are sharp metal edges, so if they come at you, you don't want them to scratch themselves on metal edge or anything. So that's why I put these plastic these bumpers on it. It just will stop the animal from hurting themselves, because they're going to be riled up and they're going to be trying to get out of there. So now that I've shown you all the pieces to it, what I'll do is we have some animals that we trapped, and I'll show you how we did it all. Okay, so as you can see, I got two cages here, and I got 2 groundhogs. And believe it or not, I caught these 2 guys within like, what, 20 minutes of each other. This guy I caught first, and he's kind of calm. He's kind of relaxed now. But this guy, he's still showing me his teeth, and he's pretty ornery. So don't be surprised if he jumps up at me. But kind of used to it. And you know, and this isn't about antagonizing these animals. We certainly don't want to do that. You know, I understand that they're hungry. They're just looking for food, and nobody wants to be in a cage. But at the same time, we can't have them destroying our garden either. So I mean, this guy really made a mess out of our lettuce plant. So when we were trying to finish up Garden North, we missed one spot, and he dug his way underneath the fencing. But you know, these things happen, and you learn from it. And now he's caught, so you know, hopefully doesn't have too many other relatives hanging around the garden. But we're gonna make sure they don't get it anymore. So I think what we're gonna do, Jackie should be home from work pretty soon, so we're gonna do what we usually do and take him over to a field and let him go. And you know, I've been doing this for years, but still, you want to be careful. You know, you want to make sure you have jeans on, long sleeves, and a good heavy pair of gloves, because I mean these are wild animals and they're unpredictable, and you know, usually what happens, they're so happy to get out of the cage and they just go running off into the woods. So you'll see that. So okay, so I'm gonna pack them in the car, and like I said, Jackie should be home in a minute and we'll go take care of that. Okay, so we're here in an open field. We got the woods in this direction. We have the cage facing that direction. I think we'll let the little guy go first because he's been there the longest. Now, I explained to you how these traps work. And not only with my special pitchfork here, but also what you're gonna wanna have is just a regular clamp. And that's gonna be to hold the door open, and I'll show you. So what we wanna do is, wanna let this guy go to the other side. Now, this is blunted with rubber tips because we don't want to. Come on, buddy. All right. See when he acts up. See, sometimes he gets scared. Okay, perfect. Now you want to wedge him in to one side. Now, you see what I'm doing? He's totally wedged in. He's not going to get out. And we don't want to keep him long. This will allow us to open up the door. Whoop, stay there, buddy. No. Stay there. Now you can push that into the ground. It's hard doing it. And that's where the clamp comes into play. The clamp will hold the door open. And all I have to do, oh, there he goes. I didn't even have to pull out, just slid. And that's it, it's pretty simple. There he is, he's off. Take care, guy. Got your brother or some relative for you. So I'll show you the other one. That happens very quick, but they don't come at you, so don't worry about them. Just don't antagonize them, give them no reason to come at you. Because this guy, boy, he's dying to get out. Okay, so same deal. Again, key is sometimes they try to go the opposite way, so come on. No, see, all right, come on, go. No, come on, go. There we go. Pin him, and you don't want to hurt him. You don't want to, see, he's trying to get his head out. He's caught in there. And sometimes what you want to do is use the forks into the ground. Come on. Yeah, he's being a little restless. He doesn't realize he's going to be gone in a second. Okay. Let's try that one more time. Yeah. He's giving me his teeth. So again, some people like to dig it into the ground, to lock it into the ground. You can do that, but I want to be careful, so I put rubber tips on. There you go. Okay, see, he's really wedge him in there, and don't want to hurt him. Again, hold on, buddy. Usually this works out a lot better, but you get the idea. Let me just push this in there. He's just being particularly ornery. There, he's caught, and we don't want to keep him there long. That's not what this is about. We want to do it here. This is where it gets in. So if you got a real ornery, you just hold it right here. You're not going to attack my boo. Let go. Okay, go, buddy. See, he's just more, he doesn't realize he's free. Go, come on. Come on, buddy. It's crazy, right? Go, come on. You know, he doesn't realize he's free. Come on, buddy, come on. Come on. Go. And he's headed towards the car, but that's okay. So, that's all right. He'll go away once we start driving. So, you see, it's actually really easy. Sometimes, you know, I'm trying to do this as I'm filming, but it's pretty straightforward. Like I said, some people don't like to put these rubber tips in, and they'll push it right into the ground, and it really locks them in. But I don't want to do that because I don't want to. Because what they do is they come jumping at you, and I don't want them scratching themselves on these metal prongs. So I use these little rubber tips on them. So, but as you see, it's pretty straightforward, and they had no interest in coming back to me. So he's off into the sunset. So is his brother, and hope they're happy out there.